Okay. Last part, exam part 3. Number 1. Are you set, Luce? No? Kelly, if you want to go ahead, you can. Absolutely. Number 1, I'm going to look at here. Base your answer to the following questions on the cross-section provided. This shows a house at an ocean shoreline at night. Smoke from the chimney is blowing out to the sea. Label the 2 lines provided on that cross-section to show where the air pressure is relatively high and where it is relatively low. So you're going to write high and low on those lines, right on the air pressure lines.
Just air pressure?
Yep, just the air pressure, whether it's high or low. Number 2. Oh, here we go. Remember these, right? So they just want you to use those standard 2-letter air mass symbols that are on page 13 and label those air masses by writing the correct symbol in each circle on the map. So I'll give you a couple minutes to do that. Okay, number 3. Are you set, Luce? Number 3. This map below shows areas of hurricane formation and normal hurricane paths in the Atlantic Ocean during May, July, and September. The areas of the hurricane formation usually have surface ocean water temperatures that are greater than 80 degrees. State one reason why most hurricane paths curve northeastward as hurricanes move north of the 30 degrees north latitude. And page 14, it shows the planetary wind and moisture belts. So you can that might help you. Why did the hurricane paths curve northeastward as they move north of that 30 degrees north latitude line? Number 4, we're looking at this. This shows a typical cold front moving over New York State in early summer. State one process that causes clouds to form. What is one process that causes clouds to form? And it says it's a cold front. For number 5, kind of gives you a little bit of a data table that shows a weather data table in Albany, New York. They just want you to complete that station model below, the empty circle, using all of those all that data to accurately represent those 6 weather conditions. So make sure when you put that pressure down, it doesn't go down like you see it on that data table. You have to do something to it before you put it on that station model. And if on page 13 it shows you where to put all of those things. So again, make sure on the pressure it doesn't look like that. You change it when you put it on that circle. Number 6, the weather map below shows a low pressure system in New York State during July. The L represents the center of that low pressure system. 2 fronts extend from the center of that low. Line XY in the map is a reference line. The cross-section below shows a side view of the area along XY on that map. On lines 1 and 2 in this cross-section, place the appropriate 2-letter air mass symbols to identify the most likely type of air mass at each of those locations.
Do you have to say if it's like a numerical top or?
Yep, they're looking for air mass symbols. So those are, of course, on page 13. So you just have to decide, looking at those reference tables, X and Y, what would X be and what would Y be? Let's see. Are you guys on, I think it's number 7? This is a weather map below. This shows the location of a low pressure system over New York State during the summer. Isobar values are recorded in millibars. The darker shading indicates areas of precipitation, okay? And some of the locations are shown. So what do they want? For number 7, state the relative humidity at Albany when the air temperature is equal to the dew point. What would be the relative humidity in Albany when the air temperature is equal to the dew point?
How do we do that?
Well, so you're in Albany, you kind of have to figure out where it would fall in between. We know it's rain, we know it's in summer. And it looks like the barometric pressure is anywhere between 1,000 and 1,004. I'm not sure.
Not either. This is confusing.
Yeah, that one is. There's always something about the relative humidity when the air temperature is equal to the dew point. I know he's talked a lot about that. I'm going to look at when the air temperature. So we know it's when the air temperature is equal to the dew point. There's something about, and that's something that he's talked about. what would it be? What would the relative humidity be?
If it's equal to the dew point,
Yeah, it's something that's equal. It's going to be, I can't say it out loud. It's usually that very first line. I want to see what you to see if you're on it right. No, he's looking for an actual humidity, a percentage. So when something is equal to equal, it's not. Because this is this, right? It's always
the same.
Let's see, number 8. Describe the effect that global warming most likely will have on both present-day glaciers and the sea level. So if there's global warming, what does it do to the sea level? And what does it do to the glaciers that are right now? You got that one? Everybody good with that one? Number 9. Let's see. What do they want to know with this one? Okay, identify the weather instrument that was used to measure air pressures. So what do we use to measure air pressure?
Oh God, not these stupid instruments.
What's that?
Stupid instrument things.
What does it have to do with that? Base your answers to the following questions on this. Table shows the area in million square kilometers of the Arctic Ocean covered by ice from June through November. Okay. The area covered by ice from 1979 to 2000 from June to November is compared to the area covered by ice. Okay. So it looks as though the ice is melting, correct, over that time period. Number 10, identify one greenhouse gas that is believed to cause global warming. And then number 11 kind of gives us a data table that shows the average maximum and average minimum water temperatures at 2 different depths in the same lake of Lake Michigan. Data table 2 shows the average maximum and average minimum of land temperatures. So we've got water at Lake Michigan and we've got land in St. Paul, Minnesota. So our question wants to know, explain why the winter water surface is warmer than the winter land surface. Why would the water be warmer than the land during winter? Number 12, base your answers to this map below, which shows an imaginary continent on a planet that has climate conditions similar to our Earth. The continent is surrounded by oceans, and 2 mountain ranges are shown. Points A through D represent locations on that continent. Okay. Explain why location C has a warmer and drier climate than location D? Why C on one side of the mountain is warmer and drier than location D? Think of where D is located on that island compared to the ocean.
Because D is like in the water or something.
It's not in the water, but
But it's close to it.
something in there about how the winds help do what? They bring in. Let's see, this next one, ozone loss and ultraviolet radiation. This data table shows us how the destruction of the ozone in our atmosphere has affected the amount of ultraviolet radiation that reaches the Earth's surface beneath the areas of the ozone destruction. So it shows us ozone loss and ultraviolet radiation, shows there's like an average increase. So let's see what the question has to say. The ozone layer is mostly concentrated between 20 and 25 kilometers above Earth's surface. State the name of the atmospheric temperature zone layer where this ozone concentration can be found. And that is on page 14. So it's kind of giving you an idea if it's only between 20 and 25 kilometers above Earth's surface. So on the left-hand side, you can see the 0 up to the 25 with the miles on the side. What one fits in there? So it's definitely not thermosphere or mesosphere. It's either the stratosphere or the troposphere.
This is not that bad, but
I
I
know.
heard the last question's really hard and confusing.
Fun. How many are there? 20?
20.
20. Okay. Let's
Yeah,
see.
because I guess third period class had a hard time with it. And
Great.
they told me to watch it on the break.
Perfect. Oh, let's see. So this kind of, let's see here. On the two maps below, map 1 shows, I don't see any snowfall. Okay, let's just look at the question. Most residents know that this storm was coming. We're talking about snowfall. State one action that a New York State resident should have taken to prepare for a snow emergency. What do we do to prepare for huge snow emergencies here? Number 15, the diagram below shows conditions that commonly cause fog to form over land in coastal areas. It shows warm, moist air from the southeast. It says a weather station at that lighthouse records a temperature of 36 degrees and an air pressure of that. Using this proper weather map symbol, place the following information in the correct positions on that weather station model. So make sure you do not put it in as 1016.4. Do what you need to do. And go ahead, add that.
The dew point.
Yeah, I believe.
I think it says 15 knots.
So it's got 15 knots. And there's fog. The wind speed, the wind direction we know is coming. It shows the arrow. And there's something that we have to kind of know about what happens. There's something and something that are the same whenever there's fog. He's talked about that. When something and something are exactly the same, that creates fog.
You put snow? or something?
No, well, no, you're going to use your map symbols, right? So it's calling for fog. So just have to make sure you put the present weather, which they already did, right? 36. And the dew point's going to be the tricky one. Your air pressure, you change that so it's proper, correct? Which wind direction is it coming from? And the wind speed, 15 knots. So you just kind of have to know what you have to do to figure out what the dew point is. And I gave you that hint earlier, kind of. Okay.
Why is everything so confusing?
I know. It's all good.
Alright. I'm gonna switch things easy.
Okay. The large arrows show what smells so good. You smell it?
Granola over there.
Oh my lord. Sorry. The large arrows show the general direction the air masses are moving. The smaller arrows show the general direction warm, moist air is moving over the frontal boundaries. Which type of front is represented by X?
That was a pretty easy one.
What's that?
I said that was a pretty easy one.
All right, number 17. Let's see here. Okay. So it says it's given us two different cities. Both cities are located at the same latitude. Explain why city X has a greater difference between summer and winter temperatures than city Y. Think of it where its location is. Why one would have a greater difference between summer and winter temperatures. Even though they're the same latitude, think about where they are according to oceans.
I don't like this one.
Are we? Okay. All right. We're looking at, this is giving us a hurricane tracking map. This kind of reminds me of your lab that you guys did. Remember how you had to track that hurricane? It says it wants you to describe two characteristics of the circulation pattern of the surface winds around the center of the eye of the northern hemisphere low pressure. What is think about the pattern. What pattern or circular pattern does a low pressure go in? What do they do? Do they go in or do they go out? Or are they clockwise or are they counterclockwise? Those are your two characteristics. Okay, so with this one, they've given us another hurricane data, but it looks like he wants you to label the September 15th position of the hurricane on that map. Starting from this plotted position on September 15th, draw a dashed line in the map provided to indicate the storm's most likely path for the next 5 days. And as you can see, it shows like the tip of Florida. And if it's a hurricane, it usually will come up the coast. So September 15th, its latitude was 30 degrees north. Its longitude was 79 degrees west.
They just put dots or something?
Just put a dot. Yep. So let me look down. They just want you to label one dot of where the hurricane was on that specific time. And then after that, they want you to basically draw an arrow as to which direction you think that hurricane is going to travel.
Like it could be in the middle of the hurricane and just like
Let's see what you got.
draw that line. Oh,
Where are you with that?
it's a phenomenal.
So, are you at start at 79?
Yeah,
Did you get it?
yeah.
So now,
Really.
questions I can see. Now, once you've got that dotted, he wants you to take, starting from that plotted position, draw a line to indicate where that is most likely going to go, Kylie.
Did I do that right? Like just like drawing a line?
Well, starting from this, is this your plot?
Yeah.
Starting from that, it's going to go. They don't ever go in a straight line, right? They kind of follow what? They kind of follow the coastline, usually. All right, is this the last one? All right, let's look at this. Number 20. The snow line is the lowest elevation at which snow remains on the ground all year long. The data table below shows the elevation of the snow line at different latitudes. Elevation of snow line. What's the relationship between latitude and elevation? So as the latitude rises, what does the elevation do?
Decrease.
That's it. So you have to write it as that. As the latitude increases, the elevation of the snow line blank. That's not that hard. That's one way. Whenever they ask you what's the relationship, you just look at them and say, well, as this one's doing that, the other one's doing that. Okay, don't ever let them trick you.
Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, that's not much.
Kylie, you don't mind having that?
No, I don't mind.
That's fine.
It's just running away. We're going the opposite way, so.
How did you guys do yesterday on it? It was good. Good.
Yeah.
You passed?
Yeah, okay. For once. Do you want to unplug that?
I sure do. Thank you, dear.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Because I don't want to do Wi-Fi, you know.
Oh, you're 7:55. We're gonna do 4 in class.
Because I don't want to do I was saying last night, it's harder than 4. It was easy. You just did it for 15.
And then you move on.
For what? What are you talking to you?
Landon, oh my God, would you be quiet?
We're gonna skip 4, guys. Remember, we're gonna do 5 and 6, and then you have 1 through 5 in the back.
What did you use with that? Oh, that's my words. This is stupid. Oh, you're supposed to find that.
So how many of these cameras are working?
Three of them.
How many?
Follow them. No. The average is usually not good.
Most of them.
You look lost.
What's wrong?
You look lost.
No. Gonna show you.
This is hard to put out. Yes.
Guys, you still have 6 minutes. If you are not done from 1 through 5, you need to sit back in your seat and continue working.
Is this gonna be homework?
Yeah. You finish 1 through 5 on the back?
Oh, you're talking about another page. Oh. That's four. There's a whole other page. There's a whole other page.
There's no really right or wrong.
I like it. I didn't even know there was another difference.
That's the number 6. Wait, there's another paper?
Yes, on the back of the back. Good, it's right there. It's fun, man. Easy.
Fair enough, separate.